One of the most frustrating things that can happen as a full-time sales rep, as a full-time high-ticket closer during your day of calls is low-intent prospects, sophisticated prospects that think that they're above you and basically come onto your call just wanting more information and not wanting to open up or give you any pain, right? It's frustrating for obviously a few reasons. Number one, very, very hard to make a sale on these people. Number two, they just suck your energy. It just makes you feel as though you're not doing your job correctly, or you feel like you could be getting them to open up better. You feel like you could have made the sale. And yeah, number three, like it really just feels as though, again, they're speaking down upon you when they're so sophisticated and they're just jumping on your call. They basically completely devalue your time, just treating you like Amazon, basically treating you like, yeah, I just want you to give me all the information and I'm not going to talk anything back. So it's key to make sure that you can get these prospects to open up, or make sure you can just get off the call with them as fast as possible so they don't just suck your energy, right? And this is how I get sophisticated, dry, cold prospects to either open up, or I just boot them off my call if I can't get them opened up, and save my energy, save my time. In the case where I get them to open up, actually make sales on them. In the case where I still don't get them to open up, no matter how much I go back and forth, no matter how many times I loop with them, I cut off the call, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in, to actually save my energy. But I'm going to show you an exact role play, the exact way that I actually do it. To protect my energy and make more sales as well. So this is exactly how I do it. After the cold, sophisticated prospect jumps on your call, you don't know if they're cold or sophisticated or how they actually are until you start talking to them for the first 2, 3, 4 minutes. But they jump on your call, you do your opening, you do your rapport building, your frame, whatever you actually do at the start of a sales call. Then obviously you're going to jump into the first question, right? What actually made you want to book the call with me today? Typically, what you're going to get from one of these cold people is, I just wanted to make more money. Or I just want more freedom. Okay? First thing you're going to do is, basically, personally, I skip over it. I go, okay, 100%. And obviously here we are. And you've booked in the call with me. First thing I do is find out what they're doing at the moment. So I go, okay, and cool, more money. And what do you do right now? Are you working a job? Or are you studying? Or what do you actually do? Typically, they'll tell you that they're working some job and they're making 100K a year. They're making 200K a year. I'm not putting that amount of money down. I make less than 200K. I make like 100K myself. But some of these people jump on the call and they act like they're Elon Musk. They act like they're Tony Stark and they're really a software engineer making, 100 grand a year. So they're not God's gift, but they act like they are. So they'll tell you what their job is. They'll tell you what they do for work at the minute. Now I'm going to go back into why they're actually at the call, right? Once I have an understanding of what their situation is at the moment, next thing I'll say is, okay, and what's the plan with obviously this business model? Personally, I sell TikTok coaching. So when I say TikTok during this video, that's what I'm going to be referring to. But you can just substitute TikTok for e-commerce or YouTube or whatever it is, the business model that you sell. I go, okay, what's the plan with TikTok? As you can imagine, John, everyone jumps on the call with me and across the board, they tell me they want to make more money or they want more freedom, right? Which is fair enough. That's exactly why I started. That's why the influencer started himself. And money makes the world go round. Isn't that the world that we're living in? Ha, ha, ha. And they'll kind of laugh along with that if they're somewhat normal. That's the world that we're living in, right? But at the same time, it's like money is just numbers on a screen, right? And money is just paper that they've gone out and printed. And we could go down a whole rabbit hole with that. But the inner circle is a really small group of guys, right? You can say that if the coaching program you're selling is a small group, if it's like, under 50 or whatever it is, or you can go, or you can just skip saying it's a small group and just go, but we always want to know your like actual underlying why or your motivation behind the money, right? And the reason for that is like, we've actually got an invested interest in you taking this business long term and making it a full-time income, not even full-time, but making it a sustainable income for yourself. It's a win-win, and I'll break down a little bit more about that later. But because it's a win-win, because we've got an invested interest in your success, basically, we always want to know the actual motivation or like the why behind the money, right? Because again, money is just numbers on a screen, but also it's different for everybody, right? If you take myself when I started out, right? Personally, I was in the corporate world myself. And I used to make roughly 80 grand, 100 grand a year. But I just wanted freedom for myself. I was working insane hours. I was doing 12 hours, sometimes 16 hours a day in the office. I would come home, I'd be working on the computer. And also I wanted to help out my family. I wanted more money coming in. 100 grand wasn't necessarily enough to take care of my mum, my dad, my brothers as well. So that was my why, right? I wanted to take care of my family and also have freedom for myself. But then I was talking to this guy, Paul, a few weeks ago, and he was like older than us. He was like 60s. He was coming into retirement age. And the biggest thing for him was the fact that he actually didn't have retirement money saved up for himself, right? So physically he was coming to the end of his career, but financially he was nowhere near set up where he actually needed to be. And Paul, honestly, he's in NYC, he's in like the hustle and bustle. He wanted to move to New Zealand. That's where his grandchildren actually live. Wanted to move out there, completely set up his life, live out there. But again, he couldn't do that because of the finances, right? He can't live on no money. So his goal is to basically up his income. He's cool with like 6-7K a month and just save up 100 grand, 200 grand for retirement. And that was his why. So anyways, you get the point. I'm kind of rambling, but like everyone's why is different. Everyone's motivation for making money is different. But yeah, for you, what's the actual why here? What's the motivation? So I've just done a complete role play there. I didn't jump in and explain why I did what I did or anything like that. So I'm going to go back and basically explain everything that I did there. So first thing I did was basically take their whole frame, take their whole, it's not an objection, but take their whole, annoying line of, I just want more money. I just want more freedom. Like, yeah, obviously you want more money, you want more freedom. But money is just numbers on a screen. So that's a key line. Because then they're like, okay, this person isn't just going to accept money as an answer. So that's the first thing you do. You basically sidestep their objection, sidestep their line by saying money's just numbers on a screen. Second thing you do is give them a reason to open up, right? So the reason I gave was the fact that our company values long-term success, okay? And their success is basically a win-win for us, right? We have an invested interest in them taking this long-term. It's not just, the one-time sale that we're after, right? You might need to get a little bit creative with the company that you're working for and come up with an actual reason of why it is long term, why your coaching company does actually want to take it long term, whether it ties into a software that you own, whether it ties into maybe exiting the coaching company, whatever it has to be. Get a little bit creative and give the person a reason to open up. So the reason I gave was, we need you to take this long term because it's a win-win on our end. So we want to know your why, your motivation, because it actually helps us get you there, right? Then the final thing that I do to really lay it up and get them to open up is give them 2 examples of an actual why or an actual motivation. The reason this is so important is it gives them a template of how you want them to answer, right? I gave them a lot of emotion. I talked about how I wanted to help my family, how I wanted freedom for myself. I didn't like working 12-hour days in corporate. And then the second one, I gave the emotion of the old man that wanted to move to New Zealand, right? I actually don't typically use that example. The 2 examples I actually use is the influencer that I work for. I just didn't want to talk about his name on this video. And then another example I give is like a guy called Paul who's working corporate and he can't spend time with his kids. He wants freedom for himself. That's typically the 2 examples that I will give. But again, Devontae taught me this. When you give them 2 examples, you give them a template of how you want them to answer. So it basically lays it up for them and they go for it, right? Typically, once you lay it up like that, exactly how I've done in this video, they will start opening up and they will start giving some pain, some sort of an answer. They say, I relate to Paul, or I relate to the influencer, or I relate to you. I'm in the same position as you when you started out. They will start giving some pain. Then you can prod deeper into that and you can just keep prying, keep using their words against them. Because once the shell is cracked, you're having a genuine conversation with them and you just need to keep that level of rapport, right? Don't start asking stupid questions after that. But the hardest part is cracking the shell in the first place. So that's how you do it. And if they still don't open up, keep prying into it, right? So if they still go, man, like, honestly, I'm not really like them. I just, kind of want more money, to be honest. Again, that's what I just said. And then at that point, they're being a little bit of a prick, right? They are being quite resistant there after everything you've just given them, that kind of speech that you gave them, the 2 examples that you gave. So literally just go back to it and don't let them through. Like, treat it as a checkpoint. That's what Devontae taught me. Like, a checkpoint. They can't move past the checkpoint until they give you an answer that you accept and that you actually want, right? So just circle back. Okay, no, I know, but like, obviously, like I mentioned, like, money's just numbers on a screen. And even them 2 examples I gave, like, yeah, everybody is different. I could even tell you about the influencer himself, right? Yeah, he has built up all of this knowledge, most importantly, income with TikTok. But for X, the influencer, whatever his name is, you know, a big thing for him was just traveling and seeing the world, right? Because you see him going to Dubai, you know, Bali, Malaysia, the French Alps, doing side quests, basically, if we call a spade, but like, that was his why. He wanted the location freedom. He wanted to see the world. So again, I understand you're here to make more money, but yeah, when you say more money, like, what's going on at the moment? Do you feel like you're not making enough with the job, or what's actually going on? And loop with that, like, be patient with them, loop with them a couple of times. Sometimes it will come to a point though where they're really digging their heels in and they won't actually give you anything. At that point, you do want to save your own time, but you also don't want to lose a lead that could possibly buy, because some of these people are they're just a bull in a china shop. They come in, knock everything about, but they actually end up buying at the end. So what I typically do is, look, to be honest, like, again, a big thing for us is understanding your why and your motivation, because it actually helps us help you. I don't totally understand why you would want to delve into this business model. Again, you know, you keep just saying that you want more money, which I totally respect. You've obviously booked in this call and come here for a reason. So I'm not going to stop you seeing what our help is. I'm not going to stop you starting this business or anything like that. I can't say that I totally understand why you want to do it, but I'm happy to run you through everything, run you through what we actually do. And if you like it, we'll get you started. If you don't like it, no worries. You can let me know and we don't have to get you started. Then I'll just quickly run them through the pitch, explain the business model for them, try answer a couple of objections. But if they start giving resistance, if they're like, I'll think about it, blah, 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 I don't go heavy into objection handling with them, because there is no juice from the discovery. Again, they wouldn't open up. And like, you shouldn't be doing that. That should only happen maybe once a week or twice a week, where they really don't open up and you just pitch them anyways. That should not be happening. You should be able to get, you know, not 80-90% of people that book into a sales call with you to at least open up and tell you their pain. But in the case that they're really being arseholes and they really won't open up to you, and you can tell that, you know, you're just going to waste your time going back and forward with them, you might as well just pitch them and see what happens. But again, that's how I get cold leads, cold prospects, people that are very, very resistant to sales questions to open up. Disclaimer, I learned basically all of that from my mentor, my manager, you know, all the guys that I work with at the moment, Devontae Masson specifically, Josh Post as well, and a couple of other guys as well. You know who you are. I don't claim to have came up with this out of nowhere or anything like that. I don't claim the knowledge, but this is what works best for me. So put it into play. Really, if you're struggling with cold prospects, this is definitely going to help out. And let's print, man. Let's make some money.